Hello there, good morning and welcome to Breakfast Daily here on Channel 1 Television. I am Nana Tufo Boateng. As the nation continues to grieve, we stand here in solidarity with the families of the deceased. We continue to extend our warmest condolences to the families. We pray for strength for these families and we pray for strength for the entire nation, including the President himself, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, all affected institutions, bodies, and organizations. Now, while we are grieving, yesterday we chanced upon, if you like, a statement or a directive from the presidential envoy on interfaith and ecumenical relations. That's Elvis Efriye Ankra. This statement or this directive basically is asking for the religious bodies or the religious leaders to submit their prophecies to this body. That's the envoy on interfaith and ecumenical relations. Now, we know and we're all concerned when some of these prophecies that border on notable persons, politicians or politically exposed persons, government officials, high-ranking individuals, the state on governance, or could possibly cause fear and panic in the country. We are concerned about how these prophecies are communicated over the period. And we've all been asking or suggesting ways to communicate the prophecies in order not to cause fear and panic. But I'm a bit concerned with this directive because it'll be interesting to note how a secular state now meddles in religious affairs. It's a bit dicey, but we'll wait to see how it plays out. The GPCC says it is yet to receive official notice of same, and when it does, it will seek further clarity on it. Basically, these prophecies will be submitted to this body. They will engage with other religious or spiritual people and for a proper interpretation, or even to identify or secure the veracity or otherwise of this prophecy. But you see, in as much as we are all caught in this dark loom of grief and sorrow, we should not lose sight of the fact that we should be disciplined, we should be circumspect, and we should appeal to the sensibilities of everyone involved, especially the families, while we are at it. So even if you do have a prophecy, you should pray for wisdom to communicate that prophecy. There should be a way to go about it that will not cause much grief or added sorrow or increase the pain of these individuals who on August 6th took flight, went up into the air, rejected by the skies, but received by the earth. We continue to pray with their families. We wish them strength. We say peace and shalom. This is Breakfast Daily. Let's bring you a few reminders because the literacy challenge is progressing steadily and we're gradually heading into the final round of the competition. Now, on Saturday, the top 50 contestants from across the country sat for the aptitude test, which happened at the British Council here in Accra. Out of the 50, 10 are making it to the final round. And these 10 will go into a quiz competition to determine who becomes the ultimate winner. Remember, that is 10,000 Ghana cedis up for grabs, a Glacy trophy, and of course, you get to walk away with the bragging rights as the most outstanding, well-rounded, all-rounded student in Ghana. So this morning, the big announcement will be made of the 10 who made it into the final stage of the competition, which will be a quiz competition. All right? So be on the lookout. Listen to 97.3 City FM. That's the City Breakfast Show. And of course, look out for the 10 that are making it to the final round of the Literacy Challenge. I want to say thank you to Bell Moon. Thank you to GB Assessment for sponsoring the Literacy Challenge 2025, which is brought to you by City FM, 97.3 City FM, and supported by Channel 1 Television. Now, in the month of September, on the 6th and the 7th, we're bringing you the This Is Ghana exhibition. The This is Ghana exhibition is your one-stop shop to promote and to showcase Ghana's export potential. So if you're a local SME, a startup, a homegrown business, you have a local innovation, you are an indigenous corporate body, this is the opportunity for you to showcase your products, your goods, your services to the rest of the world. We'll assemble Ghanaian businesses at the Afua Sutherland Children's Park on the 6th and the 7th of September 2025, 10 a.m. each day. So if you want to be part of the This is Ghana exhibition, please call 0205 973 973 now. Register and follow up the registration with your payment to secure a slot for the This is Ghana exhibition. 0205 973 973. Call now, register, pay, and secure a slot to be part of the This is Ghana exhibition happening on the 6th and 7th of September 2025, 10 a.m. each day at the Afua Sutherland Children's Park here in Accra. Come, let's promote Ghana, let's sell Ghana, let's market Ghana, and let's consume Ghana. Alrighty, so that's the This is Ghana exhibition. Be part of it. Thank you to MTN. Thank you to EcoBank. Thank you to Side Hustle for sponsoring the This is Ghana exhibition, brought to you by Channel One TV with support from 97.3 City FM. Call 0205 973 973 and register now for the This is Ghana exhibition, which is happening on the 6th and the 7th of September 2025. Now you can also go on the Google Play Store and download the Channel One News app. Okay, go onto the Google Play Store and download the Channel One News app, and then have access to the news as you want it, readily available on the app, easily accessible, easy to download, and you're good to go. That's the Channel One News app. Download it from the Google Play Store. So those of you with Android devices, quite easy to download, easy to surf, easy to navigate. It's quite user friendly. All right. So the Channel One News app is available on the Google Play Store. Go on there and download it. Thank you so very much. Let's get into the newspapers now. Start off with the Daily Graphic. Front page says, helicopter crash. Murtala Limuna laid to rest. Forensic results for 6 others. Helicopter crash. Murtala Limuna laid to rest. Forensic results for 6 others. Then you have Melcom devotes 25 million cedis to CSR. Appoints Dr. Awal as communications consultant. KNUST triumphs in graphic business tertiary business quiz. Then you have Let's Honor Fallen Heroes, Assemblies of God, Ghana. Nation observes solemn night of reflection for helicopter crash victims. Front page of the Daily Graphic. Onto the back page. HIV does not kill. Stigma does. That's according to the Ghana AIDS Commission. HIV does not kill. Stigma does, according to the Ghana AIDS Commission. La Nativity Congregation opens Presbyterian Church's first private healthcare center. La Nativity Congregation opens Presbyterian Church's first private healthcare center. So that's it for the Daily Graphic this morning. I'll take you to the Ghanaian Times. Ghanaian Times says, nation in pensive mood as thousands grieve victims of helicopter crash. Nation in pensive mood as thousands grieve victims of helicopter crash. Murtala Mohammed, Muniru Limuna remains laid to rest at military cemetery in Accra. So you have Murtala Mohammed, Muniru Limuna remains laid to rest at military cemetery in Accra. Then you have Sierra Leonean president touches down to commiserate with Ghana. Sierra Leonean president touches down to commiserate with Ghana. Jump to the back page and you have veterinary technical officers in Savannah region update skills. Veterinary technical officers in Savannah region update skills. TVET essential for Ghana's industrialization agenda. TVET essential for Ghana's industrialization agenda. Let's get into some more papers. The News Center. What's the News Center saying? News Center says, forensic reports confirm identities of all helicopter crash victims. That's according to John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, the President of Ghana. Forensic reports confirm identities of all helicopter crash victims. BOG settles economic gains debate, attributes it to gold-backed policies started in 2021. BOG settles economic gains debate, attributes it to gold-backed policies started in 2021. We stand with the nation. Margins ID Group mourns helicopter crash victims. We stand with the nation. Margins ID Group mourns with helicopter crash victims. MTN invests 17.6 million cedis to upscale 13,700 girls in ICT. And you have Accra City Hotel elevates dining and nightlife. That's the front page of the News Center. The Herald newspaper says, how Mahama, Asiedu Nketia, Muntaka, and Sami Gyamfi escaped military helicopter crash. How Mahama, Asiedu Nketia, Muntaka, and Sami Gyamfi escaped military helicopter crash. Janaza prayers and military burial held for Murtala Mohammed and Muniru Mohammed. Janaza prayers and military burial held for Murtala Mohammed and Muniru Mohammed. Angela List denies attack on BCM facility amid shareholders dispute. Angela List denies attack on BCM facility amid shareholders dispute. NPA warns against exposing children to wood fuel and coal-pot fires, cites asthma, low birth weight. NPA warns against exposing children to wood fuel and coal-pot fires, cites asthma and low birth weight. In Kwanta SHS headmaster remove over fundraising for conflict-stricken schools. In Kwanta SHS headmaster removed over fundraising for conflict-stricken schools. Let's go to the Republic Press. Ghana bows in grief as Murtala Mohammed, Limuna Mohammed laid to rest. Ghana bows in grief as Murtala Mohammed, Limuna Mohammed laid to rest. Gulf helicopter crash. DNA results of remaining 6 victims arrive. Gulf helicopter crash. DNA results of remaining 6 victims arrive. 2 police officers remanded over missing assault rifle. 2 police officers remanded over missing assault rifle. Omane Buama was potential president. That's according to Ebo White. Omane Buama was potential president. That's Ebo White speaking. Blood of crash victims on your hands. Ken Ashigbe to Galamsey politicians. Blood of crash victims on your hands. Ken Ashigbe to Galamsey politicians. And then when you go to the eastern region, you have man 53 commits suicide by jumping into Volta Lake. That's the Republic Press this morning. The Ghanaian publisher says, nation in grief. Otabill's heartfelt prayer for victims. Nation in grief. Otabill's heartfelt prayer for victims. Let's honor their memories. That's John Dramani Mahama speaking. Let's honor their memories. Baumia's act mirrors Atamil's peaceful style. Baumia's act mirrors Atamil's peaceful style. And then helicopter crash and mosquito wept. So that's the Ghanaian publisher. From one publisher to the other, and I'll bring you the new publisher. New publisher says, helicopter crash victims, Murtala Muniru laid to rest. Remaining 6 to get state burial on August 15. Helicopter crash victims, Murtala Muniru laid to rest, remaining 6 to get state burial on August 15. Stop the blame games, Veep to Ghanaians. And I must say she's been amazing. She's played the motherly role since this unfortunate incident happened, and she must be commended for that. Police grabs 7 over fuel tanker hijack. Police grabs 7 over fuel tanker hijack. Government directs spiritual leaders to submit prophecies. Government directs spiritual leaders to submit prophecies. So that's the front page of the new publisher. Let's now go to the custodian. Custodian says, Ghana bids farewell to Murtala and Muniru. Ghana bids farewell to Murtala and Muniru. Then you have Ghanaians hail Asumdwehene Bawumia as he consoles Mahama over chopper crash tragedy. Ghanaians hail Asumdwehene Bawumia as he consoles Mahama over chopper crash tragedy. Jospom boss pays tribute to helicopter crash victims. Jospom boss pays tribute to helicopter crash victims. NAPO urges support for bereaved families of rotorcraft victims. NAPO urges support for bereaved families of rotorcraft victims. Stop Galamsey to honor helicopter crash victims. Tony Adu to Mahama. Stop Galamsey to honor helicopter crash victims. Tony Adu to Mahama. So that's the custodian newspaper. The Ghanaian Point says helicopter crash. Ghana lays Alhaji Muniru and Honorable Murtala to rest. Helicopter crash. Ghana lays Alhaji Muniru and Honorable Murtala to rest. This is not politics. It's a national tragedy. Bawumia consoles Mahama. This is not politics. It's a national tragedy. Bawumia consoles Mahama. Punctuality was Murtala's trademark. That's MEST. That's the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. Let's honor helicopter crash victims by building the Ghana they envisioned. That's according to President Mahama. Family was everything to him. Omane Boama was humanity personified. That's according to Samuel Nate George, Minister for Communications, on the front page of the Ghanaian Point. Now, let's bring you some business stories. The BNFT front page says, in rural banking, Mumuadu Rural Bank posts remarkable growth in all indicators. Records 215% growth in profit before tax. Shareholders get 15% returns on current 30 pesos share price. Now you have economic recovery holds, but risks linger without deeper reform. Economic recovery holds, but risks linger without deeper reform. Credit checks double on digital lending boom. Credit checks double on digital lending boom. IEAG calls for overhaul of port operations, unified forex rates. IEAG calls for overhaul of port operations and unified forex rate. And you have government's sound policies and actions to propel private sector growth. That's according to the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra. And economy poised to leverage IATF 2025 to exert trade dominance. So that's the front page of the B&FT. Other business stories on the back page. Petra Abba Asamoah, appointed board chairperson of Ghana Post Company. Petra Abba Asamoah, appointed board chairperson of Ghana Post Company. And then you have topmost entrepreneurs celebrated at 15th Ghana Entrepreneur Awards Gala Dinner as EFG marks 15 years of rewarding entrepreneurial excellence. That's the B&FT. The Economy Times says financial markets remain stable despite Ghana's national tragedy. Financial markets remain stable despite Ghana's national tragedy. GRA NIA standoff over debt claims Maritime stakeholders fear severe impact on cargo clearance. And then you have BOG record 50% dip in remittances value as CD appreciates. So that's the Economy Times for you. Let's bring you some stories online. And I'll start with channel1newsonline.com. Ghanaians invited to honor fallen heroes ahead of state funeral. That's according to a deputy presidential spokesperson, Shamima Muslim. Ghanaians invited to honor fallen heroes ahead of state funeral. That's Shamima Muslim speaking there. Professor Okoye calls for adequate compensation for families of helicopter crash victims. Professor Okoye calls for adequate compensation for families of helicopter crash victims. Helicopter crash. Murtala Alhaji Muniru laid to rest at military cemetery. Murtala Alhaji Muniru laid to rest at military cemetery. Still on the helicopter crash, Mahama confirms receipt of forensic reports on victims. Mahama confirms receipt of forensic reports on victims. I mentored Murtala. Muniru was a permanent fixture in my house. I mentored Murtala. Muniru was a permanent fixture in my house. That's according to President John Dramani Mahama. And then yesterday we had the live coverage of the final burial rites for Murtala and Alhaji Muniru. But let's bring you some more stories on the crash, the helicopter crash. Take tough action against Galamsey. Kujo to Mahama. Take tough action against Galamsey. Kujo to Mahama. Police nab 7 in fuel tanker hijacking. Police nab 7 in fuel tanker hijacking. And then the Ministry of Defense released a video on the final moments of Dr. Omane Boama before taking off, leading to that unfortunate incident. When you go on to channel1newsonline.com, you can find that video. Helicopter crash. Alhaji Muniru, Murtala to be... Okay, well, that's happened. So that was yesterday. And let grief become a national pledge to progress. That's the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajiman. Let grief become a national pledge to progress. Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajiman speaking there. Omane Boama embodied true leadership. That's according to the Defense Ministry. Omane Boama embodied true leadership. And then we take solace in Murtala's enduring legacy as attributed to MEST, Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. Let me take you to citynewsroom.com. Citynewsroom.com says GPCC, no official communication yet on National Prophecies Directive. So that's the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council saying that they have not been officially notified by the Presidential Envoy on Interfaith and Ecumenical Relations regarding this direction or this directive for prophecies to be submitted for review. That's what the GPCC is saying. Let's bring you some other stories. Credit enquiries saw 114% in 2024 as digital lending expands. That's according to the BOG, Bank of Ghana. T-bill auction sees 22% under subscription amid fallen yields. T-bill auction sees 22% under subscription amid fallen yields. On the 2026 budget, businesses pushing for lending rate cut, incentives to drive 24-hour economy. Then you have Ghana records 18 new mpox cases, total now 346. In the central region, Gumwa Asiam records over 30 teenage pregnancies in 2024. 5 MEPE scholarship beneficiaries graduate from Royal Daisy School. Amin Adam calls for parliamentary probe into helicopter crash. And then you have helicopter crash, show love, tomorrow is not promised. That's Shamima Muslim, deputy presidential spokesperson speaking there. So go online, citynewsroom.com, as well as channel1newsonline.com, or you can jump onto the Google Play Store and download the Channel 1 News app and you can get the details of all these stories and several others. This is Breakfast Daily here on Channel 1 Television. Stay with us. When we come back, we zoom into the news review segment.
Looking for a one-stop shopping destination for all things made in Ghana? Eager to experience a remarkable fair that showcases the richness, creativity, and innovation behind Ghanaian products and services? Then get ready for the This is Ghana Exhibition 2025. The This is Ghana Exhibition highlights the brilliance of Ghanaian entrepreneurs, artisans, and businesses who continue to shape the narrative of homegrown excellence. This is Ghana's biggest trade fair and exhibition, bringing together SMEs, startups, research and manufacturing sectors, indigenous corporate bodies, and local creatives in one exciting space. The This is Ghana Exhibition 2025. Come explore, engage, and be inspired by the businesses and brands that are redefining Made in Ghana across every sector. The dates: Saturday the 6th and Sunday the 7th of September 2025. Time is 10 a.m. through till 5 p.m. each day. The venue is the Ifo Sutherland Children's Park. For inquiries or participation details, call us on 0205 973 973. The This is Ghana Exhibition 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM and is proudly sponsored by MTN, EcoBank, and Side Hassle from EK Brand Consult.
Nation full of questions, where truth often hides behind noise, one show dares to ask what truly matters face to face. With fearless clarity and a quest for accountability, host Umaru Amadou sits down with the movers and shakers of politics, governance, society, and business, confronting the issues that define our national conversation.
The party itself has said that whenever you are in opposition, you should choose flag bearers early.
So what you are trying to tell me is that you want somebody who is going out to come and select a leader for you. So the next person will come and say, but how are they selecting?
Direct victim of attack, violent attack.
Where and when?
The first one happened in Parliament. I was pregnant.
Now, for me, it was legitimized by a radio or TV station giving her a position to work.
So for you, take issue with GH1 and what and giving her the platform.
That is where the minority is. We are on them. We've asked questions.
President Mahama will be a mean president if he prioritizes only his children and DCP. He needs to demonstrate a Ghanaian government.
Every Tuesday at 9 p.m., join Umaru Amadou on Face to Face as he digs deeper, challenges power, and reveals the stories shaping Ghana's future. Only on Channel 1 TV.
Curious about what's happening beyond your borders? Beyond Borders takes you there. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m., join Caleb Kuda as he explores the stories that shape our world, connecting you with Ghanaians in other cultures and seeing the world through their eyes.
So I've learned one thing: you leave your shoes outside. Wow.
Tuesday, you know, I won't go to Ghana dressed in a Lacoste.
As director of operations.
From international politics to the human stories that define nations, Beyond Borders brings you a fresh perspective of Ghanaians around the world, one conversation at a time. Beyond Borders with Caleb Kuda airs Wednesdays at 7 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV.
hearts are still broken. We're shattered, still in pain, in grief. Some people still in disbelief. But we'll hold on to this grief and stay strong for the families of the deceased. Continue to commiserate with them. We console them and pray that the good Lord himself will keep the souls of the departed in his bosom. Welcome once again to Breakfast Daily here on Channel 1 Television. I am Nanatufo Boate. It's time now for the news review segment. We'll go straight into it. I introduce my guest and then we'll begin the conversations. Seated next to me on my immediate right is Palgrave, Dr. Palgrave Boakye Dankwa, a member of the New Patriotic Party, NPP. Good morning, sir. Good to have you.
Good morning, Nana. It's good to be here.
Good to see you. Elvis Darko is the editor of the News Center newspaper, newscenter.com. Elvis, good morning.
Good morning.
I trust you're well.
By God's grace.
Well, we're still grieving. This is the type of pain that does not leave. Anytime their names are mentioned, we will remember this painful death that they had to suffer as they rose to duty for Mother Ghana, not knowing that this will be the last time that they would be rising. And so we continue to commiserate with them. Yesterday, two of the victims were laid to rest. Janaza prayers were said for Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Muhammad and Alhaji Limuna Muniru Muhammad, were Muslims. We pray that Allah himself will grant them Jannatu Fidaus and keep them in his bosom. But I'll start with you, Palgrave. Quite a difficult time, admittedly, for the families of the deceased. How do you envisage they deal with this type of grief?
Nana, good morning, and good morning to your listeners and viewers. And this is a very difficult moment. Obviously, it's not one anybody would be able to deal with for a very long time. And I mean, I know a few of the personalities very up close because of our involvement in student politics when we were relatively younger. Murtala Muhammad was involved in student politics. He was our ASU president, All African Students Union. And Omani Boama himself was NUC's president. And so we're involved actively as students at University of Ghana and they at their various universities. And it hit me very hard, really, really up close, and gave me a sense of how fleeting life is. Right. And Murtala was very kind and generous to me when we were in government, because at the time I had just entered into public service and he was in opposition and had gone through government before. And so he was one of my go-to persons when we were either engaging in debates, and he would commend me where I do well and straighten me where he feels that the issues were difficult, and so I should tone down some of the approaches that I had. Omani Boama was such an excellent gentleman, a very bright medical doctor who had come into public service to serve his country, the Deputy National Security Coordinator, the young people who were flying the aeroplane. This is a very difficult moment for a country. I've been thinking it wasn't true, to be honest, until I started seeing that we needed to start laying wreaths at the Jubilee House, and there was the remembrance service over the weekend, and the president declared a 3-day national mourning. Then it started dawning that really this has happened. And when the Minister for Health brought the DNA samples over the weekend, and the burial was done yesterday, this is so sad. And I'm still in shock. If, for me as a normal citizen of Ghana, I'm in shock. You can imagine the families, their spouses, their children, nephew and nieces, and even parents. It's going to be a very difficult moment, and I would plead with everyone to be very circumspect. Obviously, John Dramani Mahama, the president, has asked that we try not to politicize the issue, and I can't agree with him less than that we should try and stay away from politicizing the issue and come united as a country to grieve and mourn. And once we are through the process, we need to ask ourselves some very hard questions as a country. Do we want to continue to have miners mine illegally? Do we want to continue to have the resources that God has blessed us with destroy our water bodies? I mean, I know that Murtala was an advocate on climate change and an advocate on clean water, which is why he was the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. Do we want these issues to happen, especially seeing that it's taking the life of precious people? And so we must ask that question very well. The mandate is on the government of the day to ensure that some remedial measures are put in place. And some other thoughts in my mind are that could this have been avoided? Because the government has been in office for the past 8 months. I have been asking myself, I'm not too sure this is the first time that the Honorable Dr. Omani Boama has used the helicopter to travel. And from being a former government spokesperson on governance and security during the Kufuor government, I'm asking myself some very hard questions. And one of them is, are we under a threat as a nation? Are we under a threat? Because
What kind of threat?
Ghana is a sovereign country. Is someone trying to destabilize the sovereignty that we have? Is someone trying to, and I'm not trying to put blame on anybody, but I feel that something is happening which is beyond the country. And I'm trying to ask myself what security intelligence might have eluded the people who were on board the plane. And I've heard that there were other persons that were scheduled to be on the plane. And that's not really an issue that I want to go into. But I'm looking at the fact that the helicopter is carrying the Minister for Defense, is carrying the Deputy National Security Coordinator. And I mean, these are no small, mean persons who govern our security and intelligence. And I'm asking myself, what security intelligence might have eluded these people? Because I recall when we were in government, even as a spokesperson on governance and security, there were things that I knew as a spokesperson that other people did not know. And so clearly, as a Minister for Defense, as a Deputy National Security Coordinator, there are things that they know that other people do not know. So what security intelligence might have eluded the entire Ministry of Defense? What security intelligence might have eluded the entire national security? What security intelligence might have eluded the military intelligence itself? Because I am guided by the fact that we are surrounded by countries that are going through terror attacks. I'm also guided by the fact that we are surrounded by countries that have been toppled over by military juntas, and they have military rule now. And so having those thoughts in my mind, I'm asking myself, it's someone wanting to destabilize our country. Because hitherto, imagine that the persons that we hear were supposed to be on the flight were on the flight. It means we have some big issues, and which is why I just don't want to focus on those other persons, but I'm looking at the dignitaries that were on board. A ruling government is in office, their vice chair is on board the flight, then Minister for Environment is on board the flight. The Deputy National Security Coordinator, who has just been appointed 2 weeks, is on board the flight. The Minister for Defense is on board the flight. I don't want to believe that it's just a normal crash.
You suspect foul play?
Well, I don't suspect foul play. I suspect that someone is trying to take our sovereignty away from us. And I don't know which country is responsible, but I would want, beyond the parliamentary probe into this, I would want us as a country to look at countries that we suspect will do this to us. And that I want to elevate the conversation beyond internal issues. I think that somebody is an enemy to Ghana. I think that somebody is an enemy to Ghana, because I cannot, in my wildest imagination, think that a Minister of Defense is on a helicopter, a Deputy National Security Coordinator. I mean, and clearly, you know, if you are involved in security, you can't just take down a whole Minister for Defense. You can't just take down a Deputy National Security Coordinator, provided that they were not on the flight and the persons we are aware were supposed to be on the flight. It meant that President John Dramani Mahama would have been on the flight, we were told. it meant that the chairman of the ruling party would have been on the flight. So what security intelligence might have eluded them, which clearly for me comes to the statement that no security breaches were made, which meant that whatever anybody had attempted to do to carry out, they did go ahead to carry it out. Do you understand what I'm saying? Whatever anybody had thought or purported to do, to carry out, they went ahead to carry out, not knowing the persons that were on board. Obviously, if they had a list of data of people that were on board, they assumed that those were the person on board, which is why I'm asking the critical question. Who is an enemy to Ghana? We need to ask that question. Yes, who is an enemy to Ghana? Who is wanting to put us in this sad state? We've enjoyed our sovereignty, we've enjoyed our peace, we've enjoyed our serenity, but we must be guided by these things.
You don't think if indeed it was an external attack, whoever is behind it would have confirmed the targets on the chopper?
No, this is not a movie.
No, indeed it's not. But I mean, with how you know, I mean, with the issues you're raising,
I don't. You see, I'll tell you something. Look, we've observed security protocols. It was for a reason why after the 9/11, the entire world changed our security protocols. The entire world changed security protocols primarily because the Twin Towers were bombed. Something eluded the United States of America on that very day. People had woken up, they had gone to work. Okay, something eluded them. That is why they had a crash. When they did the thorough investigation, they realized that it was a threat outside of the United States of America. So I'm asking the critical question. Who is an enemy to Ghana? Which country is wanting us to go through such a very mournful moment? 8 people have lost their lives. Which country? Because I mean, that's why I said this helicopter, I'm very certain that the military has been using it continuously. They had confidence that it would take off and it would land. Something went off somewhere. And what happened? I mean, obviously, I'm sure maybe the cockpit will be able to, black box will be able to bring out all those issues. But I think that something happened that is not just a mere crash. Did somebody shoot the plane down? Was there a missile that was dropped? I'm asking myself various questions because I just don't want to accept that it was a mere crash.
Fair. Thank you. Let's say good morning to Victor Kwajoga and Dawudu. Good to have you.
What can we say? We can only say good morning.
Very well.
But Dana, before I speak, if you can allow me just a minute or two, just something for, we are mourning. It's very sad. Sometimes I can't still believe it. Until yesterday, I saw the coffin being lowered, the casket. If you permit me, I'll just sing a song in Ewe, my dialect. Just for the nation, for the family.
Go ahead.
Umawu Siagbedoga Esha Ilafi Siafi Ameshive Goglo Meglona Sianyegbe Lehiawume Megalao wo modemu mawo amenu veto nyemuse bleji defo dogun ewona menye megangame be matra mo Gane meye boyo mewo megaglao wo modemu mawu amenu veto. Simply,
what does it say?
It says, God, who has mercy on us, never hide thy face from us. The God, when we pray, listens in his hiding place. When we are in distress, we call upon him. He hears our voice. He should not hide his face. He should not lead us astray. He should always be with us. I think for me, I've been at the funeral. No, you know, still I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, so we can't even see our colleagues, our comrades, their bodies that will go and bring closure. It was a sad thing. And I only say, God, you are still alive. In a way they say, there's nothing that ever happens that God does not know. We only pray that he who hears our voice, that the tragedy, the deaths, there should be a halt to it. He should hear our voice, listen to us, and forgive us. Because within these 7 months in government, we've lost a lot of people, especially the NDC as a party. Adekuka, Sampi, we've lost our vice, our comrades. And it's so sad, you know, sometimes. And I put myself in their shoes. They are my age mates. You know, Mani, Mutala, some of them, they are my age mates. And when I put myself in their shoe, how would their families, their children feel? The nation, and you know, brilliant minds we've lost. It's so sad. But I always say, in our weakness, we find strength. There will be a time for healing. And I'm sure the good God that we serve will let us understand why this thing happened. And the good Lord will also help us to put things in place so that we avert some of these calamities and tragedy. And let me also say thank you to people who came to mourn. I lost an uncle who buried him over the weekend. Gospel Dugbe, a man of heart of gold. And a lot of people were there. We thank everybody and all that who came yesterday, and we are mourning. All I can say is that God give them peace in his bosom. It's sad. You know, sometimes it's like you are dreaming. You doze off a little bit and like, is it true?
Reality sets in.
Reality sets in. And you know, as time goes on, maybe I'll speak about the comrades that we've lost. Apart from the service personnel, the military officers, I've had a encounter with all of them. You know, you meet them, then they say, counsel, lawyer, you know. And I remember Comrade Mutala very well. When I lost my dad in 2013, he came and said, hey, lawyer, this funeral, how will you do it? I know you don't have money. You know, he took me to see some few people who gave me money for my father's funeral. He had been there. You know, sometimes it's sad.
Yeah.
But that is what God has destined for us. And, you know, it's just that the going, how violent it's been.
Yeah.
That is the pain.
Exactly.
Yes, we will cry.
Yeah.
The pain will be there. But we know the good Lord will comfort us. That's what I can say for now.
Very well, thank you. Elvis, the state has done what it can. What's your own appreciation of what has happened so far, from the announcement of the unfortunate demise, the declaration of 3 days mourning, the flower laying ceremony in front of the Jubilee House, subsequent sending the or samples of the remains to South Africa for forensic testing, and all leading up to the burial of 2 out of the 8 victims yesterday. Your own appreciation of what has happened so far?
Oh, I must say that it's not easy to
see
the way and manner these people died. In fact, when I first glanced the video of the charred bodies burnt beyond recognition, I wept. Because I'm a Christian, I believe that we are all going to die. But I believe that the way they died is the problem.
At the point I was wondering, so at what point did extension of life happen?
Okay. So you look at the way the bodies on the ground, burnt virtually to ashes. So sad. People's fathers, children, uncles,
brothers,
breadwinners. Oh, look, many people look up to these people for one reason or the other. And just in the twinkle of an eye, they are gone. And for me, that is the very difficult moment that I think that we've been through. And for us, we are even far away from the family, but we are even feeling the pain. You can imagine the direct family people, wives, children, mother, father, siblings, uncles. You can imagine the kind of pain such people are going through. So death is a painful thing, but certain deaths are more painful because of the way they happened. And I think that, I believe that nobody will even wish that his worst enemy should die in this manner. And for me, I think that that's how we should look at it. And for me, they have died. We are mourning and everything. But it also exposes us as a nation in several ways. Okay. Probably, if we had the Ghana Rescue Service, which we call National Fire Service, if they had had a helicopter that can douse fire, probably maybe the body may not have been bent to that level. Because per the Armed Forces' own statement, the flight left Accra around 9:12.
Yes.
By 10 a.m., there were reports in news portals that the helicopter had crashed, the location, the people in the community were sharing information. So I believe that if we had done the fire service, emergency and rescue service, I have said that we have to change the name. Emergency and rescue service, because the name fire service suggests that they are only into fire. So people don't understand that the real work of the service is emergency and rescue. So at that point, in any serious scandal, that will be the first thing to call upon to quickly dispatch a helicopter that can go there with the necessary fire and chemicals to try and see whether they can douse the fire. But we didn't have one. So there's nothing we could do. We're helpless. And the bodies bent beyond recognition. So it's something that we must look at, that are we going to use this incident as a point of decision making and says that it's about time we retool the fire service and give them some of these resources. It's one thing we have to look at. And then the second one is how the bodies were handled. In fact, when I saw jute sacks on the head of human beings, and we were being told that those were the charred bodies being carried away, I just shook my head. I said, this is crazy. This is a human being that is dead. And we could not dignify the transportation of the remains. The best way we could transport the remains is to carry them in jute sacks and carry somebody's head. And I'm like, who even took the decision that these bodies should be packed into jute sacks?
Well, we've heard that at the point of cut or moving the bodies, they were still warm, and that the body bags would have melted if they had been placed in body bags.
You see, these are some of the mundane explanations that I will not buy. Can't the bodies still be put in the jute sack, if that's the best, and still put in the body bag before being carried? You see, let's not. You see, when this happened, everybody is rushing to give explanation. We got it wrong, and let's accept that we got it wrong. Let's not justify this inhuman treatment. The fact that they are dead does not mean that we should denigrate them further. It's not the case, and that's not the way we should go about it. So I don't want to hear anybody justifying this, that the bodies were hot. Bodies were hot in jute sack, and human beings were carrying it on their head. Something that I say is hot, it's still being carried on the human head. And you are telling me that we couldn't still have packaged this thing into any other thing and put them in body bags before carrying them, but we have to put it in jute sack and put it. Anybody give you that explanation, and I tell the person, I say, you should stop. It makes no sense. We should know that somebody should admit that they did the wrong thing. Because if we are not ready to accept our mistakes, we cannot change. We cannot correct them. Nobody should deceive anybody because of bodies. So you are telling me that this happened in the UK or America, anywhere, they will put the people in jute sacks because they will say that their bodies are hot. Is that what anybody is telling me? Please, let's not go there. It's unfortunate that, can you imagine the family members who lost this people in this tragic manner, who would have at least expected that some dignity will be attached, seeing their loved ones being carried in a juice sack on somebody's head, and you come out to explain to the person that the bodies are hot. Are you crazy? Let's stop these things. Let's be sensible. Let's be sensitive to people's emotions and feelings. Let's not be giving this kind of rubbish. Let's say that the people who got there, who took this decision, they just got it wrong. So that next time, we can, if you are trying to justify, next time somebody will go and do the same thing. So when it happens sometime, that's the same thing we did. Let's accept when it's wrong. It is not the way to treat a human being who died in such a tragic manner. That is not the way to treat a person, and let's accept it. Okay? It's another flaw that we've seen. And the fact that people have gone there and picked evidence. People have just desecrated the entire crime scene.
Yeah.
Ordinary people went there, later politicians went there, later even the security people went there. You use all kinds of... But if we are to do any proper investigations into this, with all these interferences at the site, and people even taking away part of the helicopter, somebody said he took away watch. So people took all kinds of things away from the crime scene. And you ask yourself, if we say we have to investigate to ascertain what really caused this, a lot of the evidence has been destroyed by interferences of human beings that have gone there. And I think that this and many other lessons are things we need to learn and then quickly decide as a nation that what do we do that next time such incidents we can actually do better than we have done in this case. For the way the state has handled everything, I think so far so good. The only aspect of our problem with the state is that in this manner, for somebody to say he is sponsoring the transportation of this body to South Africa, is the government of Ghana saying that they can't afford to transport this body to South Africa, body to South Africa for DNA? See, sometimes we do the right thing, and then whether out of excitement or out of exuberance or out of the desire to help, we take certain decisions that sometimes it doesn't sound well. You tell me that these people are done in the US, UK, any other serious country. It's a private person who will donate his private jet to carry the bodies to South Africa and back. This is the time we can hire private jet and it is justifiable. Okay? This is one of the conditions on the way if you hire a private jet and pay for this because we need the samples quickly. Okay, it's justifiable.
Yeah, but if you need it quickly and his is available, why not?
I'm not saying, you see, at the way it was reported, it sounded as if Ibrahim Mama was the one even paying for the cost of the test. Because it said sponsors. So people ask, is he the one who even paying for the cost of the test in South Africa? A lot of questions were being raised. And I think we can avoid some of these things based on the way we act on some of these issues. And the helicopter crashes it's common all over the world. Okay, it's common all over the world. And I think last week I did a story about this particular
the Z9.
The Z9. Almost about 6 or 7 countries that have purchased this particular aircraft. That there are just about less than 10 countries that have purchased it from China, per the records I've discovered. But almost 7 of them have recorded similar crashes. With even senior military officers. In fact, generals in one country, about 3 generals died as part of the crash or using this Z9. So I have said, and I'll say it here also, that the investigation and all that we are doing, it should also include going beyond Ghana to look at other countries that are using this particular Z9 and look at the safety records of this particular helicopter. Because I think that with what I've read from various countries, it appears the Z9 has safety issues. And I think that it's time we examine that as part of the investigations. If at the end of the day we conclude and realize that it's not that safe, there are issues with it, and we will stop using the remaining 2 that is there, we take that decision. Because we bought 4, and I hear 2 are down, there to be repaired. 1 has been deployed to Boko for peacekeeping operation. So this is the 4th one that is available that has been used and now has crashed. Meanwhile, we bought this helicopter with largely to protect and surveil our oil facility. That is actually the main reason we bought this helicopter. But because probably the Air Force doesn't have options. So in this case, they have to deploy this to transport people. So we must all realize that as a country, if we want to move forward, as I always say, let's take politics out of a lot of things. Let's look at the reality. In this country, when the armed forces request for equipment, it becomes NDC and NPP debate. When they say we need A, B, C, they become a political debate. So I think that we should learn a lot of lessons from this. We should do investigations into it to know exact cause. Now that they say the black ball has been found, we hope we'll find useful information out of it. And then the actual investigation will also include the safety record of the Z9 in almost all the countries that have purchased it. And then let's come to a report that says that the Z9 is safe, or we think we have issues with safety records, and therefore probably Ghana will not go in for more of that. So you see, it's important that we all take it easy. All kind of suspicious accusation, allegations. I say at this point in time, I will say let's leave all to investigations.
Right.
That at the end of the investigations, we will know exactly what has happened. And when we do that, then we can actually move forward in the right direction. I heard people say that, oh, DNA, why do we take to South Africa? I've heard someone said that the human beings who can do it, they exist in Ghana. They have the expertise. But the resources needed to do it do not exist in Ghana. For which reason it has to be flown to South Africa, because the way the bodies have been bent, the kind of equipment that are needed for the analysis to be able to determine who is who, those equipment don't exist in Ghana. And we all know that in Sub-Saharan Africa, when it comes to medical issues, it's South Africa. So it's not that the thing has been flown to South Africa because there's a lab in Ghana that can do it and we flew it. In fact, a lot of common sickness, you go to Kolebu and all the places, your samples, they will tell you that we do not have the facility to test it. They will take it to South Africa. It will take 3 or 4 weeks before the results will come. And they will have to just be managing you till the results come to know whether what is suspected is. So flying the DNA of people who have actually bent beyond recognition to South Africa is not because somebody wants to do it in South Africa. It's because the resources in terms of equipment, infrastructure to do it in Ghana does not exist. So I think that we are in an emotional situation, and many of us are charged emotionally, and all kinds of comments are coming. I think some of these things could go and hurt the family members the more. So I'll pray that we all restrain ourselves. Let's leave the investigations to be done. Let's get the outcome of the investigations, and let's work with that. But when we are throwing all kinds of suspicions, accusations, and things about, I say, do you have any feeling for the family members who have lost their families? Is it the right time for you to be making those allegations? And all that the state has done, I want to add that, see, somebody's father, mother, uncle, son, some breadwinner is gone somewhere. Most of the time, the state will do all these beautiful things. After that, the survivors, the state has nothing for them. Has nothing for them. As we speak today, the June 3rd disaster victim are still in court trying to say, you give us some money for medical bills, but we are still going to hospital up to today. We've lost ability to work, and the state should give them some compensation. June 3rd up to today, they have not received any such compensation. They have to take the state to court in a civil suit.
10 years.
More than that. And they are being in court trying to get some. I will say that the children, the family members that have left behind, we should go and find out what kind of support do these people give them on regular basis. Will the state be able to support them in that way? It's so important, because if we do all these nice burials and everything, which is the right thing we have done, but the people who are dependent on these people for survival, we do not include them in any support system, it means that after the burial and everything, the rest will now have to fend for themselves. There are many families where one person dies, they've lost all their hope, because probably that's the only person that has something in the family and caters for all. So if we leave the rest of the family behind without thinking about what kind of support do they receive from this person, is there a way we can find something to support those left behind? It's very, very important that we look at some of these things. Most of the time, Ghanaians, once somebody is buried, it's gone. And then the support systems are not there. So I will add that the state should make sure that we do something for children, wives, parents. Oh, somebody is there, the parent is there. Every month is that son that will have to send something for feeding.
Exactly.
To send something for electricity bill. Without that son, no other child or family member is sending anything to that
So there should be
parent.
some support for dependents.
So if that person who gives is gone and the state does not take up that responsibility, how does that old man or woman whose only source of livelihood is that son who is gone, how does the person survive? So I think that we should go beyond this and try and see how we can support the survivors, those left behind.
Very well. Doc, on the issue of the investigations, we've heard some concerns come up regarding the Ghana Armed Forces investigating this matter. The concerns mostly have to do with the fact that this chopper belonged to the military. These officers were staff of the military. And so investigating your own, most often than not, does not allow for that level of transparency you would want to see. Do you share similar concerns, or are you convinced that with the Ghana Armed Forces investigating same, we'll get the best outcome?
No, I'm of a different opinion. I think that trust is needed in everything that we do as a country. When you go for military training, when you go for security training in any of the services, you know that you are not just an ordinary civilian, because now you're a uniformed person.
Yeah.
And I continually hold trust and confidence in the Ghana Armed Forces. I believe that they will be able to investigate this matter very, very clearly and be able to advise us as a country. I mean, if the facts come to bear that they cannot be able to even put that publicly, I think that they should not deny the president and the national security team the real truth of what transpired. I think that is very, very important. And so I would ask for them to go ahead with their investigation. I don't think that there is any need to bring in an external person out of this country to do any investigation, unless, of course, they don't have what it takes.
But as we have collaborated with the DNA analysis, can we do same with
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's very open. I mean, this is of national interest, and so it's very open for us to collaborate with other investigators that have the requisite skills and knowledge and expertise to be able to do this. But I would ask that the Ghana Armed Forces leads the investigation. But you know what, Nana? Do you realize that in all of our security protocols, if the president is moving, he has a very good convoy, including the ambulance? I'm just trying to bring our attention to some of the issues that Elvis raised in terms of the Ghana National Fire Service having a chopper that is able to spray water. How is it that we have a military plane or a helicopter that carries state officials, regardless of who, and the flight goes alone? I recall that when Russia invaded Ukraine, each time President Zelensky travels, there are 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 other planes that go with him. So as we look at our protocols on ground, which is the land, where the president goes with various vehicles and there's an ambulance, we need to look at our protocols in the air, such that if there are any evacuation processes, even in the air, it can be done. And we need to move that as well to the ocean, marine. Because you see, we are protected not just by land, we're protected across board, the air and the sea. So whilst we look at this, we need to have some extreme protocol measures that we put in place as a country. If a flight is moving, there should be an air ambulance that follows it. There should be an extra helicopter that follows it. So that in event that there is even any target, it becomes very difficult to identify which of the choppers has the MVPs, which is the most valuable persons in it. And so we need a lot of resources to do this. And so, which is why we don't need to politicize this. This parliament has an opportunity to protect the future of Ghana by ensuring that some measures are taken. Because much as we mourn the loss of these important people, it's also an extra cost to the country. So marry that cost with wanting to do the right thing. We would save lives. We would save people from mourning. We will save the distrust of families. And so I want us to look at all of this. How is it that a chopper leaves and it leaves alone? And we anticipate that it will arrive because it's happened multiple times. But the fact that it's happened multiple times does not mean it's the right thing to be done. And I take guidance from Russia's invasion of Ukraine and how President Zelensky travels. We need to be able to have that. We appreciate the fact that we have a private jet owned by a Ghanaian in Ghana. But I would want to send some caution, really. Because, you see, we're talking about the sovereignty of the country. We're talking about how we must take care of ourselves as a country. Yes, it's good for people to own private planes. But we need to be able to separate some matters that are of national significance to private individuals. I admire and love, it's called Mr. Ibrahim, right?
Yeah.
I admire and love Mr. Ibrahim, his benevolence and his support. But if Mr. Ibrahim can afford a private jet, I think that the country can also afford a plane. Let's buy it. What prevents us from buying a plane that has the same specifications as that of Mr. Ibrahim? What if Mr. Ibrahim was not in Ghana? What if he had used his private jet to travel? What if the private jet was not available? So if we can afford it as a country, let's afford it. Let's buy our own plane. So that it's not as though we are always at the beck and call of private citizens. Okay, yes, maybe he didn't charge the state, which we thank him for it. But what if another instance will come where the private plane is not available, where we need to be able to transport something of national interest? We need to look at all of this, because today is President Mahama that is in government, whose brother owns a private jet. What will happen when President Mahama is not in government and another president is in government and the brother's plane is not available? So let's look at it in a broader scheme so that everyone can benefit from it for future events and instances.
Very well, thank you. Counsel, back to you and the issue of the investigations. We know that an investigative body has been set up. However, what we do not know is who constitutes this body. Is it important in the scheme of things to know who is part of this investigative body?
Nana, I think that the issue of the investigation is very paramount and cardinal, in that the president has made it crystal clear that the investigations will be. I think that we've heard a lot of stories, theories that are being propounded as to what may be the cause, the suspicions, the mistrust, and the rest. But as my colleague Palgrave have said, I have full trust in the military. You know, the military, they are of different fold. You know, in as much as they are citizens, the kind of standard that is expected from them, the transparency and everything they do. As he said, I think that the investigation is to bring out what are the loopholes, what are the safety issues that maybe we did not take into consideration or we glossed over, things that we glossed over. And I know that, like Elvis was saying, the Z9, yes, when it was bought, were there issues? What are the issues that we have seen about it? What will be the way forward? What can be done if the Air Force has to be retooled? And I think that that was one of the agenda that the late defense minister told the whole nation that we have to retool the military. So I think that, yes, it's an opportunity for us to know that out of this tragedy, we have learned our lessons, however painful it is. And in their memory, we've been able to put safety measures that never again should this happen. Listen, as to composition of the team, I'm sure that they are not going to take any ordinary man who do not know anything about aircraft, about safety issues, right? And there are experts within, and you can find those experts in this country. Like you were saying, it exposes us as to some of the things that we lack. We have the people, the facility, the infrastructure that we do not have. I'm sure if we had those facilities in Ghana, you know, we will not be going outside. Yes, we appreciate it that we needed to bring closure to this. But don't we have those human resources here? We have. These are things that have exposed us that we need to look at. Like he said, the rescue service, the emergency
rescue service.
The emergency rescue service. Then sometimes we gloss over it. We think that, oh, it is a one-off issue that happens. So why should we waste money in doing this? No, I think that it's dawned on us. The stark reality has come to us and see that, look, we need these investigations which would now direct our action, the way forward. And I think that we should do this in memorial of the departed souls and say that, oh, even though we lost them, we feel the pain and it will remain, that scar will always remain on us. Tomorrow, we should be happy to say that out of this tragedy, we've been able to establish A, B, C, D, and we'll be able to avert other tragedies and calamities that may fall on us. Like, you know, I'm sure all these conspiracy theories that are coming, what people are saying is that they will look at them, they will be put forward, you know, and that also goes to the spiritual realms, where I've heard the presidential envoy on interfaith and economical issues.
That's what I was coming to.
Yes, who has also said that, look, yes, we are a nation that we believe in spirituality. We believe. We have our clergy in every function in this country. You find our religious people, the clergy, both traditional, the Islamic, and the Christians are part of, we are interwoven. So if we believe in the God that we serve, and I think that they also have, in the days of the old, the Israelites, it was the prophets who gave directions. Right? In as much as, yes, the prophet gave direction, we also know that there are some false prophets. Right? So that is why we need to sanitize. And I think that what he has asked, if you have any, you know, God reveals to redeem. So once it's been revealed to redeem, let's channel it and use wisdom. You know, some of the things, they are just like, I'm a messenger. I have to say it as it is. You know.
But then there's a proper way to communicate it.
There's a proper way. It must come with wisdom. It must come with knowledge. And it's communicated. And I'm happy that it's being coordinated now. That once it's coordinated, what has to be done to avert it, it is. But I have full trust in the military, in the presidency, that these are people who are so close, even to government. They are connected personally. And they will also want to find out and bring closure. The nation should also bring closure to this. So I think everybody should be rest assured that all issues that are being raised will be looked at. And I'm sure that even if there is a need for collaboration as we've seen done within the health sector, it's been done. I'm sure government would do that to bring the experts or the kind of equipment that will be brought. You were saying as to the crime scene, things that had happened, you know, it's unfortunate that we have seen that, because I'm sure as the security has gone there, just should have marooned the whole place. But you know, it was the community who got to the place first. And I'm sure this would teach us lessons that when these things happen, what will be the protocols do we follow, right? So that everybody is sensitized, education.
Who's going to teach us these things? Because even the NCC doesn't have a budget.
No. I think that some of these things should be maybe the fire service. And says that, look, we have safety institutions, the police, you know, they have this the protocol just to teach the citizens that when you see something happening, how to resuscitate even a person. When a person there's an emergency, how to resuscitate him. And most people would not even know what to do, especially when there's an accident. The way they have to carry the person. Sometimes that's what even kills the person. That leads to the death. Because the way we handle, most of us, we don't even know that. And it's not being taught. So I think it should be something that should be awakening to us and say that, look, the Ghana these people envision that we should have, that is what we should pursue. That one day their souls will be at rest with them and say that, oh, this is what we wanted. This is what we envisioned. And at the end of the day, it has been achieved. I think this Galamsey thing has cost us so much. It has cost us so much. When should we bring an end to this? It's going to be a difficult one. If I tell you that it's going to be easy, no, it will be a difficult one. But for the souls of these people, this should urge us on. This tragedy should give us that hope, that trust, that assurance that some people have laid down their lives and we must achieve what we envision as a nation. That at the end of the day, these people, their lives will bring healing to us, will move forward. You know, it should not only be engraved that we should be united. You know, we should always make sure that things are, and I think I'll plead that yes, in as much as we have pain, people will be asking questions. Let's be measured in what we say. You know, some social media, others, things people are saying. Sometimes ask them, if it is your brother, if it's your father, it's your uncle, will you be saying such things? Will you speak those negative words? No. So have full confidence, and I'm sure that government will do what is expected so that citizens will be at peace, will bring closure to this matter, and we'll move on.
Very well. Thank you. Elvis, I'll come to you, but I need to take a break here. So we'll take a quick break here. This is Breakfast Daily on Channel 1 Television. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll hear from Elvis on the matter of the passing of the fallen 8 and the directives that have followed subsequently. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Bleu, life can get hectic. And sometimes we forget to prioritize our well-being. That's where Vano Mineral Water steps in. A refreshing solution packed with essential minerals, Vano Mineral Water keeps you hydrated and balanced. Whether you're at home or work, Vano Mineral Water is there to keep you going. Don't let a busy schedule hinder your health. Make Vano Mineral Water a part of your daily routine. Share the love with Vano Mineral Water, the choice for a healthy, vibrant you.
This advert is FDA approved.
In Ghana, West Africa, the mornings are somewhat, if not for the perfect companion. What a good day to start. Another day. It's always smiles knowing we are together.
Ooh, what a feeling. With Nasco, you're there for family. If you not be you, then who go there? Nasco.
Work is always effective with Nasco home appliances. No wahala if the sun is up. We there for your appetite. Never a dull moment to go for something chilled. Classic home appliance for the fisher folks. Good vibes only while you wait. The feeling hits very deep. Enijepa ewa Nasco fie. Nasco, bring home happiness.
Ghana, get ready! The biggest sales event of the year is back. National Sales Leaders Conference 2025, organized by Core Event Solutions, powered by MGA Consulting, and proudly supported by Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana and Association of Ghana Industries. Happening on August 19th to 21st at the Accra International Conference Center. The special guest of honor for this big event is the Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Deborah. Join over 2,000 participants including CEOs, Managing Directors, Sales and Marketing Heads, among others, for 3 unforgettable days of insights and high-level networking with 68 seasoned speakers tackling 25 impactful topics across various industries. This is the one event you can't afford to miss. Reserve your seats now. Visit www.nslcaccra.org or call 0502-711-070 to secure your ticket. NSLC 2025, redefining sales excellence for a dynamic market.
This August, get ready for an unforgettable night of worship and celebration as Perez Music presents Glorified, dubbed His Love and Kindness. Ministering live, Perez Music alongside the legendary Daughters of Glorious Jesus. Also ministering Joyful Way Incorporated, Minister Gabi Akwe and Edom Evangelist. Join us on Sunday the 31st of August 2025 at 4 p.m. sharp at the Victory Bible Church, Awoshi Dominion Sanctuary for an evening of powerful ministry and praise. It's absolutely free. But if you would like to support this ministry, you can do so by purchasing our special event merchandise or call 0557-116-607. That is 0557-116-607. Let's come together and raise a sound of gratitude for God's love and kindness. It's going to be nothing short of heaven on earth. This event is proudly sponsored by Eddie Spitzer and powered by Rima City of Worship.
Yeah.
Grateful that you stayed on with us. This is Breakfast Daily here on Channel 1 Television. We're currently having the news review segment. I'm going to Elvis Darko next. He's the editor of the News Center newspaper, newscenter.com. On this directive by the Presidential Envoy on Interfaith and Ecumenical Relations, I don't know, we all have issues with these prophecies and how they are put out there and all that. But this Presidential Envoy, does he have the locus? Is this directive backed by law? If people refuse to submit their prophecies, can he do anything about it?
Well, a little about the investigations before I come.
Very well, very well.
I think that the communication and how the investigations need to be very quick and open so that Ghanaians will have a better understanding about how aircraft crashes investigations are done, so that people will be clear in their mind. We don't have to let the communication be shrouded in some form of ambiguities. Because you see, for instance, the issue of whether we have to bring in foreign experts. If you want to do a proper investigation, obviously we don't have the laboratories and equipment to determine that this foreign material found on the site is subjected to examination to know what it is made of, for them to determine whether there was some interference and from when. Those investigations, Ghana does not have the capacity. So if you really want to do a proper investigations, it means that some of these things have to be flown to labs across the world.
Even the black box, we understand,
major
can
defense
only
companies.
be opened by the manufacturer.
Of course, the black box, for instance. So that's what I'm saying. In major aircraft investigations, you hear them tell you at a press conference that they've retrieved their black box. They are sending it to the manufacturer for examination and report to come. So the public know that the black box will be flown to the manufacturer for examination, or the manufacturer will be invited in to bring in their equipment to come and examine, because we do not have, the armed forces does not have the capacity to open the black box and examine it. It's only the manufacturer who has the kind of equipment that can decode the messages that are in the black box. So we need to be able to make some of this information available to the public, so that they would have a fair understanding of how the investigative process is going to go, so that people don't have a certain expectation that is different from what the investigation is going to be about. Because for a crash site, for instance, if people are suspicious that maybe somebody shut it down, everything that is found on the site needs to be taken to major military industrial complexes which have the ability and the laboratory to test that this thing, if you put it in this machine, is able to tell you that probably this particular item, though found on the site, is not part of the materials used to make the airplane, and therefore further investigation, where did it come from, and how was that found on the crash site? What is it made of, and what is that material used to do, to determine whether it is used to do A or B ammunition or something. So it's a very complex thing if you are talking about investigating an air crash, and it needs a lot of diligence and a lot of time. So I think that the government, the armed forces, and all those armed forces don't like talking. They don't like explaining issues. And I think in this case, if we leave it to the armed forces PR alone, we may have a problem. Because then they will say, for us, our duty is to get the job done. We don't what the public is asking. So I think government communication needs to help the armed forces to understand this is not only an issue of armed forces. It's an issue of larger public interest, and therefore the communication around it needs to be handled differently, so that some of these issues can be explained to the public. As they said, they set up the committee. Even if we don't know members of the committee, at least issues like the black box being discovered need to be officially confirmed by the state and say, okay, since it has been confirmed that we have the black box, per standard procedure, we cannot examine it. And therefore, efforts are being made, or plans are underway to fly it to the manufacturer for examination. And then when it is flown out, you make it public. When the report comes, you make it public. So the public will then follow the process. They will not come and tell you, why is it taking too long? Because they will appreciate the processes you are going through, so that will not be questioned, why is the report not ready within 2 weeks or 1 month or something? When you are giving us more information, but when the committee goes to sit and they are doing, and there's no communication, the public will now be coming up with all kinds of rumors, speculations, and I think that we should avoid that in this particular case. So it's just a suggestion I'm giving to the government that they shouldn't leave communication around the investigation to only the armed forces. For them, it doesn't matter what to say. They will only issue what they want to issue. The rest, you can go to and they won't mind you.
Most of them are two-sentence statements.
That is their process, that's their process. So it's beyond the armed forces. So I think government communication need to help. They need to put some team together that will help to do the communication around it. Because we all want to know what happened. It will guide the future of this country. So it's important that we and as if they even want to get information about this aircraft and other countries that are using it. It may require some team traveling to some of these countries and have a conversation with their armed forces as to how they are using the aircraft, the kind of challenges they experience using the Z9 to factor into the report. And traveling to these countries will take some time. So if we are able to communicate well, the public expectation will be managed. But if we leave it out like that, we may have problems, and then accusations will begin to emerge. Then the issue of prophecies and the rest. You see, I am a Christian. I've always said that if you're a human being on this earth and you underrate spirituality, then you are walking in darkness, because the whole world is governed by spirituality. So human beings must understand. And I've always cited that, look into the Bible if you're a Christian. Every king God actually ordained, God understands that the king does not have the spiritual powers to see the future or see things in spirit. So God always gives kings their spiritual guide. Every king God installed, he gave him somebody who is a prophet who guides the king. If you go into the other side of it, the pharaohs and all the other kings who God did not ordain, they also have their spiritual guides who guide them. So if you are a human being this way, you don't understand that you must take spirituality very seriously. Then in actual fact, you are walking in darkness. They don't know the world you are walking in. It's very important for us to understand the matters of spirituality. So if we have realized that there are issues are coming up and we are hearing all kinds of things somewhere, and government thinks that, oh, if there are prophecies that affect government, we think that don't go out public and say it, but come to us, let us know. We'll tell the rightful person about what the prophecy is. Maybe that person can decide to do further spiritual consultations from other spiritual leaders to see whether that prophecy is verifiable and whether there's possibility to do anything about it. I personally don't think it is wrong. I think making it publicly announced as if it's an order for them to bring it. For me, I think that is where they got it. I think that the South Africa could have organized a meeting, okay, with all the religious bodies, okay, and have that conversation with them that we as a government know that a lot of things happen in the spirit. If you are Christian, the Bible says whatever you see physically has already happened in the spirit. So if you are a Christian, you know that you don't joke with spirituality. So as a government, we believe that whatever that will happen in this country, there will be spiritual undertones, whether good or bad. And therefore, you have that conversation with all the leaders. In case you have anything that concerns a government appointee, we will be happy if you can come to us with it. Then we will link you to the person who the thing is about. You communicate to the person. After the communication, that is the end. Leave the person to take a decision as to what you have said, whether the person thinks that it's worth following up on. Whatever the steps the person wants to take, you leave it to that person. But I see, issuing a public statement on this makes it look as the government is trying to control, direct, or especially when you use the word to review the prophecy. How are you going to review a prophecy? You understand it? So I think that, as I always say, communication around everything is so important. From my point of view, it's a very good thing they thought about that. We believe that anything that happens physically has spiritual undertones, whether good or bad. But the way he went about it by issuing a statement was the problem. If you had call all religious leaders, Ghana Pentecostal, all these prophets who are making, they belong to the Ghana Pentecostal Council. They all have some group they belong to. Call all of them, sit them down and say, look, we believe that these things, they happen. It's normal that people can have prophecies about people. But as a government, we think that if it concerns government officials, we will appreciate that instead of going publicly and announcing it, we will appreciate that you rather come to us. We will get the rightful person to know what the prophet is about.
Because usually these social media prophecies end with, tell them to call me.
No, that's the point. You understand it?
So now Elvis is he's serving as a bridge between the prophets and the one the prophecy is about.
It's not the public.
Right.
You see, so you need to, because if you understand spirituality, you understand somebody can tell you that this will happen and to have it doesn't mean that it's God who is doing it. Whatever God can do, the devil can do more, can do some. I always say it. I cite the example when Pharaoh got to the house of Moses got to the house of Pharaoh and said, God said, I should tell you to release the Israelites. Pharaoh calls his magicians to come and show Moses to us small.
Something small.
Something small. And then the magicians came in with a walking stick.
Right.
They spoke words. And an unliving thing, which is a walking stick, turned into a living thing, which is a snake. Okay?
Yeah.
This happened in the Bible. So if you're a Christian, you don't joke with that. And a non-living thing, which is a stick, walking stick turned into a living thing called a snake. And Moses also called on God, and his walking stick also turned into a snake. But Moses' snake was able to swallow that off. So you see, you cannot say that everything is from God. The same thing God can do, the devil can do, I call it the counterfeit or the small aspect. Because if the magicians can convert a non-living thing like a walking stick to become a snake, that becomes a living thing. You should know the power that the devil was. So some of these prophecies too, they may not be from God, but some of these people too, they are using all kinds of powers. Not all of them are using godly power, although they claim to be pastors using the Bible. Many of them are using a lot of powers that do not, and that's why they can also actually orchestrate things. In fact, some can orchestrate things so that it will happen, and then people will say, oh, he said it and it happened, so it's powerful. You understand? So that is why if it's communicated to the person, and the person also understands spirituality, the person may want to say, okay, let me go further and find out what really is behind this. Is it being orchestrated by somebody just for a purpose, or it is godly ordained? The person may do further spiritual consultations and come up and say, look, and maybe this person is orchestrated, but I found somebody to stop it. Or this one is really from God, and therefore the direction given I'll follow. Then it becomes clearer. The intention is not a bad thing, but the communication and using the word, you want to review a prophecy. The person is, are you the spiritual head of all the spiritual people in Ghana? You understand? So I think that we shouldn't look at it. I ask myself, we say we are secular states. What is government doing? Talking about religious, you understand? But as I said, some of this is to draw attention to the fact that the wealth is not just physical. Okay, I told people when the Queen Elizabeth died, we saw all kinds of things being done, including what? Killing goats and a ram, right? We were even told that the bees in the Queen's garden, they have to go and inform the bees that the Queen is dead. Many leaders in the advanced world that we see, they believe more in spirituality than us. It's like, for us in poorer countries, our leaders don't understand the power of spirituality. They think that once you vote for them and they win, that is all. But I can tell you that if you go to any serious country in the world where leadership takes a lot of things serious, they do a lot of divination. They do a lot of consultation. They have a lot of men of God who are praying. They have malams who are praying. For the government too, they go to people who actually can see things in the future and ask for it. In fact, you'll be surprised that the kind of things sometimes we say here that our government officials should not have anything to do with. Because you are Christian, you think that going to consult a Muslim, a Malam is wrong, or going to consult a traditionalist is wrong. But you cannot impose your faith on somebody. Maybe the person believes that if I consult this traditionalist, I'll get solutions to my problem. So I think that let's not take this too much. I know that it's a food for good political debate, but I think that for me, the way I see it is that the government is only saying that if you see anything about a government official, instead of saying it public, come to us. Whoever is involved, the government will facilitate you getting access to the person, because the point, most of when they say they have the thing, they say they don't know how to get to the person. That's why they go to put it out in the media.
So now you have an avenue.
Giving them an avenue that instead of going to social media and the rest, we are giving you an avenue to have access to the person, communicate the prophecy to the person, leave the decision to the person as to whether he wants to follow the direction you are giving, or the person thinks that based on what you have told him or her, he or she wants to do further spiritual consultation from other sources to be able to know what to do. Leave that to the person. Don't also go there be forcing the person that because I saw
perhaps he has his own ways and means.
Because I saw it, what I say you should do, you must do it at all costs. Because some of this thing they do it because they want to gain popularity. Some of them, they are doing it because if they see the big man, some money will flow.
come.
And all
Very
kinds,
well.
so they also have all kinds of motivation. But my advice is that from what I've learned in the Bible, the world is controlled by spirits. And that's why God, every king God has ordained, God has given the king a prophet to guide the king spiritually. So if you are a human being, don't joke with your spirituality. Make sure that you pay attention to what is called spirituality and you understand the world better.
Very well.
Whether a traditional God, whether it is God in heaven, whether it's a malam, understand that the world, whatever we are walking around, we are blind people when it comes to the spirit. What's happening in the spirit we can't see. So if there are people who can see in the spirit and they talk to you and you listen and you take the right steps, it can help you. So let's not underestimate the power of spirituality.
All right, Elvis, thank you. Doc, back to you on this same statement. There's a ministry of, we have a ministry for chieftaincy and religious affairs.
Yes, there is.
Now it's combined with
local government. Yes. If this had come through there, I mean, would it have made any difference?
Nana, I hold the view that all of life is spiritual. And I think that Elvis has clearly shown everyone around the table and the Ghanaian people that he's well discipled. So we will thank his pastor. Yes, we will thank his pastor that he's well discipled. But I mean, I agree with all the things that he stated on this matter, that all of life is spiritual. And for me, whether the notice came from the Ministry of Local Governments and Religious Affairs and Chieftaincy or the Special Envoy, it tells you the magnitude of the issue. I think that the Spirit of God is working very strongly in the lives of many young people. And God's Spirit that is hovering around the surface of the earth in Africa, in Ghana, and around the world, He's speaking to people. It is no doubt that Ghana is the center of the earth. The entire earth, Ghana is the center of it. And so I'm glad that the presidency has taken religious notice of all the issues that are happening. They are very anointed young men who every now and then are either on TikTok or on YouTube or on Facebook declaring the word of God. I'm glad that now they have an avenue to which they can be able to go to, so that whatever God is saying, whatever the Spirit of God is leading them to say, they would be able to share it with the leaders. You know, the Bible encourages us to pray for our leaders. And so I'm happy. When I saw that the President, John Dramani Mahama, had established this envoy, my heart was gladdened, because we are surrounded around the world with a lot of interfaith issues. And there's always a central point where you need to go to so such issues are addressed. And if the presidency prioritizes this and sets up an envoy to be able to look at it, and this is a global thing. So this envoy can go to Vatican, this envoy can go to Medina, Mecca, and all around the world to have conversations. And I'm glad that young prophets, young seers, young men of God, senior men of God can have an avenue to go to. Now, I can also agree that there are economical bodies which are the Anglicans, the Catholics, the Baptists, the Assemblies of God, the Methodists, the Presby, the Charismatics. I can agree that there are those economical bodies. However, there are other young men of God who are not a bigger part of these economical bodies, so-called and so recognized. But they have spiritual fathers and spiritual elders in a lot of these places. And so I am glad that this notice has come. I pray and hope that it's accepted well by the seers and the prophets. You know, Nana, when God speaks to you, you need a great level of humility. Sometimes when God speaks to some of the seers and the prophets, they don't have that aspect that carries the humility. And so that's why Elvis was stating that it appears as though the tone of the letter is almost like instructive and reviewing of prophecies. But I think that the channels and the path has been made clear for everyone. So I would also ask and plead with the Minister for Communication to have a look at sanitizing the social media space. Because a lot of these social media propheting also causes some fear and panic.
Yeah.
And so if there's a way that a communique can also come to reinforce what the special envoy has stated from the Ministry of Communication, that communicates all prophetic issues, all spiritual issues directly to the presidency, I think that those things will be ideal.
Very well, very well. Council, final words before we wrap up. We're supposed to deal with the Pokwasi Road, but unfortunately, we're running out of time. This particular story had several legs to it, so I mean,
for me, I think that the spirituality has been something that has been recognized by citizens way back, and I remember that even during the late Professor Milt, his tenure, he actually there was always a Sunday church service, and there were prayers. You know, every time all appointees were expected to be there. So it was something that I'm sure the president now was also part of. And I think that has been a good thing that sustained the leadership, and it has been brought back, that now we even have an envoy in charge of all those. I think that, yes, maybe the review might have not been the word or the choice of word as to review. That is when we would say, when God speaks, who are you to say you want to review it? But I think there have been seasoned prophets and people in this nation. One of such a person is my spiritual father, Prophet Ano.
Okay.
Very matured and is a prophet. And I'm sure that all the other prophets, the young ones who are coming up, they should see the certain people as mentors who will guide them as they communicate. Like he said, in the days of Israel, it was every king has a prophet. And the prophets will reveal the mind of God. And you see, it is interesting that God may hide something from you and reveal it to another person. You may not see it. You'll be a prophet, you may not see it, but some other person may see it. So I think it's a good thing. Once we see ourselves, although secular nation, but we believe in three major religions, the traditionalist, the Christian, and the Muslim. And the interesting thing is we all eat, we do things together. We do not, you know, we are not polarized when it comes to religion. Even when it comes to marriage, most of these things, you find it, we belong to the same place, we do the same thing. And I think it's a good thing. Let's see the brighter side of it, that this is how we want to harmonize, let's coordinate. When there are issues which will have to be relayed to persons who are involved, you know, in the Bible, when Samuel and the rest were to go and communicate, right, to King Saul, what was happening, you know, the wisdom that they used. When he said it, said, oh, this man, then the man has been killed. At the end of the prophet said, oh, it is you. But you see,
it is you. But you must be killed.
So that it was wisdom. I think that it is the wisdom behind that we are asking for. And as a nation, we will continue. The spirituality controls what happens here.
Exactly.
So I think that is a way forward. And if we recognize ourselves, we believe in faith, in everything, I think it is part of our daily life. And we should be able, as a nation, and don't forget, the good Bible says that when the righteous rule, the people rejoice.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We'll have to leave it here. We've run out of time, but thank you so much, gentlemen. This has been good. We'll find time to engage more on some of these matters. This has been the news review segment here on Breakfast Daily, live on Channel 1 Television. Don't go away. The show continues after this.